right. Mechanical Animals is the third studio album by American rock band Marilyn Manson. It was released on September 15th, 1998 by Interscope Records. The album marked a major shift from the industrial metal and alternative metal styles of the band's earlier efforts into an experimentation with 1970s glam, rock, industrial, and electronic music styles. As their first release following the success of their breakthrough album, Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals themes primarily deal with the trappings of fame and drug abuse. It's a rock opera and concept album. Mechanical Albums is the second installment in a trilogy, which included Antichrist Superstar and 2000's Hollywood in the Shadow of the Valley of Death. The album spawned the singles, The Dope Show, Rock is Dead, and I Don't Like the Drugs, but the drugs like me. As well as the promotional single, Coma White. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, making it the first Marilyn Manson album to do so. Scrolling up. Brad, I've just been thinking that we've been friends for many years now, haven't we?
Have we?
Many years.
It's very kind of you. Very kind of you. Do go on.
I haven't seen anything friendly yet. I've just said that we've been friends, but I didn't say it was like a great friendship or anything.
Just acquaintances.
Yeah, we've been acquaintances.
Crossing over of social circles.
Yeah. And I just wanted to take this time to say something very special and from the heart.
I'm ready. My soul is open. Touch me. I'm going to really reveal some of my deep emotions at the moment, Brad. So please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. I'm not in love, but I'm gonna fuck you till somebody better comes along. You know what? That was my favorite lyric of the whole album. I just thought it doesn't get any better than that. Yeah.
I'm not in love, but I'm gonna fuck you till somebody better comes along.
I think you're singing it better than Marilyn.
Thank you, Brad. I thought. Anyway, that's just some special feelings I had.
We have been, occasional friends, passing ships in the night over the years. Well, I hope no one better comes along, but I hope we don't start fucking, really.
Brad, that was a promise.
Oh, was it a promise or a threat?
Both.
Oh, the best kind of promise.
Okay, so I got a bit more here. Although critically acclaimed, Mechanical Animals was initially not too well received by longtime fans who complained about the radio-friendly sound, and Marilyn Manson had sold out. It was certified platinum by the RIAA, but it was the lowest-selling number 1 album of 1988. Michael Bainhorn, who was the producer, said that when Mechanical Animals came out, the projected sales figures for the first week was 300,000 copies. The label was very excited, saying, "We're going to hit number 1 and sell 300,000. It only sold 230,000, but it still got to number 1, but that wasn't enough to keep the label happy. So Beinhorn said the label lost interest. They took down a huge billboard that they had put up in Times Square. The president of the label called up Manson, screaming at him for having tits on the cover. And
there's no nipples. It's not tits. It's not tits without nipples.
Apparently,
right?
there was the original suit had 6 tits with nipples on it, but they toned it down a bit at the end there. And
well, even looking at the cover though, he's looking very nude, alien-like, and that's okay. But the words go over where the nipples would be, so technically,
yeah,
like the sea of Mechanical Animals is right where you'd expect the pink bits to be, but there's none.
No, I can't really remember my CD, but apparently there was multiple versions of the cover. There's the one where he's the grey alien with you can see everything.
That's the one I'm looking at. Yeah.
And then sometimes it was the inside picture of Marilyn Manson done up with colored hair and wearing a white suit. And also to appease, I can't remember if it was Walmart or one of those places, they put it in a blue bag so you couldn't see anything. They refused to stock it and all that kind of jibber jabber.
Once you open it, you see everything. They can try to hide it, but once you open it, you've seen everything.
Yeah. Heaven forbid you look at a person and don't see genitals. Is that the problem?
Honestly, look, I know there's poor people that don't have nipples or for medical reasons may have lost their nipples. But to see a man without nipples, it's just seems wrong to me. Is that all right? Or do I get cancelled for having that opinion? You need nipples. You need nipples for balance, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, you get one on one side and one on the other side. But if you took them away, you'd still be balanced.
You got 2 eyes, 2 nips, 2 balls, 2 feet, 2 hands. It's all about 2s.
My cat's got 6. He manages to get around.
But it's even, right? It's lines of 2. Cat nipples are even lined up in 2s, right?
Blind people can walk around.
Nobody has.
I'm failing to see
nipples.
Your logic. That's a ridiculous statement.
That's fine. That's what I'm here for. What did you think of this album, Dan?
Why did you choose this one? I love it.
Tell us why.
Gosh, why do you like things?
Are you just going to listen to it until a better album comes along?
Man, I played this thing into the fucking earth when it first came out. I loved it. It was just on loop after loop.
Back in 98, so you weren't listening to like Sugar Ray and Offspring in 98?
I definitely wasn't listening to Sugar Ray, but I did like the first couple of Offspring albums were pretty cool. I liked that first one they did. You stupid goddamn dumb shit motherfucker, blah, blah, blah. That song. That was a great song for their first album. You know what I'm talking about? Are you there? Oh, yeah. So that dropped out for a second there. We'll start again. Something about the Offspring.
Loser.
I was listening to them for a while. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I like
this
that.
album you loved when it came out. Mechanical Animals was your jam, and you had like a woman's silicone bodysuit.
I really like the. I actually really appreciate theatricality in music. Like it's not just he goes out and plays a song. No, theatricality is a word. He's not just doing a song. It's an entire performance. It's the entire look, and it's a big production.
He has like Rocky Horror
Picture Show. He has personas. He's playing 2 characters in this album. He's not being himself. He's being Alpha and Omega.
Well, he was never himself, right? Because Marilyn Manson's a character as well, right? What's his real name? Like Bruce?
Brian Warner.
Oh, that was close. It was a BR. Brian Warner on the Wonder Years. No, myth dispelled. Carry on.
Yeah, so this is a theme album. So apparently one of the characters is Omega, and the songs he's singing is like the Dope Show, and they're kind of like the simpler, the more glam rocky songs, the more it's just a dumb, fun pop song, rock song. And Alpha is a character that's more based on Marilyn Manson, and it's about dealing with fame. Both of them are hopeless, stupid drug addicts. Alpha is in love with he's unsure whether he's in love with a woman or a drug and he's called the drug and the woman Coma White. He's unsure if Coma White is a woman or a drug, if I'm explaining that correctly.
So tell me, do you pick this up from listening to the album, or have you read this online?
Stuff I've read online. Right. I never knew it was two different people, but when you listen to it, you kind of go, okay, these are the fun songs, and they're kind of, new model. What's the song? He goes, "I'm not in love, but I'm gonna fuck you." That's one of the Omega songs. It's just we're getting it on, we're getting messed up on drugs, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's okay with it. Whereas Omega is singing the songs where it's more deeper, more introspective, more about feelings, more psychedelic-y, kind of floating in space kind of a song. I really like the theatricality of all that.
Yeah, but that's been Manson's big thing from the start, though, right? Like he came, or at least I remember him coming out with "Sweet Dreams," the cover of the Eurythmics, which I was like, whoa, that's a good song to do a rock cover of, right? It worked, and he's got his Marilyn sound, his vocal style. Like, great, forgot all about it, and then he came out with probably still their biggest song, "Beautiful People." That came out like 96 somewhere, right? And that was
the Dope Show. The Dope Show is apparently their biggest song.
Oh, I take it back
by a long way. Yeah,
but you'd have to admit, "Beautiful People" was where they broke into the. Yeah,
that's when they broke in. That's when I heard about them. I think "Sweet Dreams" came afterward, and that was from the previous album. And I had that album too. I bought it secondhand from the secondhand shop. And a total waste of time, except for that one song. The rest of it's just kind of weird and stupid.
But yeah, so he had his style, and it was very, metal and devil worship and whatever. There's all that palaver of them getting into trouble with Satan worshippers and kids, Columbine, all that stuff. If you're allowed to say that school name anymore.
Well, it was.
And then this was a huge. Go ahead.
To clarify, the Columbine kids were meant to be big fans of Marilyn Manson, and he inspired them to do it, was one of the rumors. But then it turned out they hated Marilyn Manson, thought he was a faggy dork, and he had nothing to do with inspiring them. So
well, there you go. Yeah. What do the mums know? But this album, I think, was a departure from that, don't you think? It was less scary metal and more there's big Bowie influences to what I could hear. It was still metal and his vocal style.
They moved away from the industrial style, side, and they went more rocky. I don't know if it sounds like glam to me. Yeah, but when I think glam, I think the Sweet. I think of the Sweet, and Gary Glitter. I don't really. It's harder than that.
Definitely. It's definitely like
fun pop rock songs is what I would call it.
Nah, I don't know. It's still kind of metal, only because of the way he sings, maybe.
I think he's got a great voice. He's one of the great rock singers, I think.
Wait, we're talking about Manson?
Yeah.
No, he's got a distinctive voice. I don't think it's a good one.
Oh, I love it.
Well, good. When you put this on back in the day and you spin the CD and you listen to the first track, do you feel it set the tone for what was to come?
Yeah, I was in love. That's a great song.
Great Big White World.
Yeah. So apparently at the time that was interpreted as racist. Oh no. But back then you could actually clarify things. And so he said,
you're allowed to voice your opinion? Never.
Back then people would go, "Hey, we think that's racist," and you're allowed to go, "Oh no, it's not because of this reason." And people went, "Oh, that sounds reasonable."
Thanks for clarifying, mate.
Yeah. So apparently what had happened is they were from Florida and they moved to Los Angeles. He had a house that overlooked Los Angeles. And the concept of the album is the world is white and empty, and they were going to use this album to fill it with art. And so the world is white and empty. So it's a great big white world. We're going to fill it with color with our art and our songs. That was the idea. And he came a white as the drug that he's in love with and all that sort of stuff. It's all thematical.
I never knew it was so deep or thematical. Honestly, like when I listened to the album, I knew what I was in for, right? You said Marilyn Manson. I'd listened to this back in the day. It was not on my, I didn't have the CD. I can't remember how you listened to things back in the 90s. Maybe I borrowed it off somebody, had a listen through. I remember the singles being mega catchy and everywhere. Like Dope Show was all over the telly, Juice TV and whatever else we had back then. And same with the Don't Like the Drugs. And I'll admit, those two songs, they're pretty good, man. You can put them on and rock out any time of the week, Good standard. I don't know how to phrase it. It's not metal, it's rock, I suppose, But I felt like listening to the rest of the album now, however many years later, 20-something years later, it's all become almost cliche. Like every track would have all the tones you get when you buy your M-Audio guitar emulator. Click it on to setting 4 and you've got the intro to Rock is Dead or whatever. But I guess back then it might have been groundbreaking, and that's just what happens over time, doesn't it? 20 years later, everything becomes cliche.
Like you couldn't put this out. Talking about.
You couldn't put this out today, and it would blow people's minds. I don't think,
Oh goodness. What were you talking about? M-Audio? You're saying the guitar sounds are generic.
Yeah. Now, back then, you go, oh wow. And now when I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is just like a plug-in, Nothing sounded like they'd stuck a mic in front of a PA. I mean, in front of an amp. It sounded like it was all DI guitars. And just my opinion. Feel free to voice yours.
It doesn't sound like a Gibson through a Marshall, but I wouldn't really know what the guitar tone was. It was produced by Michael Bainhorn, who I keep hearing this guy's name like he's one of the greatest producers there ever was.
What else did he do?
Kind of everything, basically, if you go through it. But he's apparently one of the producers that goes through every detail, and he sits down with you and he's just like, what does that lyric mean? Why did you use that word? Why did you, what's this riff about? Why does it go with that one? Yeah, you have to explain everything to him. Everything has to be justified and giving, like, does this work with that? And does it work?
Wow, he did the Chili Peppers, Soundgarden, Hole, the Violent Femmes. Yeah, right. So he's got a bit of pedigree.
Apparently he's just, he's not one of those Rick Rubins who turns up once a month and says, what do you got? Apparently Rick Rubin doesn't know how to use a mixing console or any of the tools. He's just more of a coach who kind of turns up.
Yeah, sure.
That's the audio engineer.
I'd say he knows a few things about a console, but yeah, I've heard he's just drives people or gives them the
inspiration.
Yeah, there we go. Just, a spark to light a fire. Though he didn't do a very good job of Weezer's album, Make Believe. That was a pile of horse turd.
Well, you hear people complain about him saying we were making the album and he just never showed up.
Just took the check, fucked off.
Yeah, but other people he's that works, and some people it doesn't work with them.
Yeah.
Anyway, this album.
How often, this podcast, would you put tracks off this album on?
This is one I forgot about for a while. I haven't listened to this in ages, and then I put it on and I just went, what have I been doing? This is sensational. There's not a bad song on this one. I love it, beginning to end.
it's definitely an album where how we talk about it a lot when you have an album that is, from start to finish it's listenable all the way through, like your Neverminds or your Black Albums or whatever. It's got that same sort of tone and style, and it carries itself for the entirety of the album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this one, even though I didn't, I'm not over the moon about it, and there's definitely better songs than others. Yeah, if you're into Manson, you could put this on at the start and definitely make your way to the end and not be too put off.
I think it's what's generally thought of as his best album, and it was sort of a bit of a downhill slide from there.
Right, I'd never heard it was thought of as his best album, but all right.
Yeah, I've got it. Oh gosh, I got the reviews somewhere down here.
You know what? I really liked an album of his not from too long ago, or at least a chunk of songs off it. The album with the binge song, Third Day of the 7-Day Binge.
He's got some great songs.
Yeah, he's got
was it Slow Motion? He's a guy that always pulls out a good cover. Like he'll cover something, and it's always a fucking great cover of that song.
Yeah.
You'll Say Vain.
I mean, oh no, he did that one for Not Another Teen Movie as well. Personal Jesus.
Yeah. Does great covers. Sweet Dreams.
God's Gonna Cut You Down, not so much. Not as good as Johnny Cash.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's a bit too. He puts his Marilyn on it, I can't do it. I don't do impressions. But his vocal style. But I mean, are we going to get into it? Isn't he in trouble at the moment? Isn't again for non-Satanist reasons?
When you look at him, like he just doesn't have the face, does he? For someone who would get into trouble.
If you met this man in a restaurant and he said, "Hey, sit down, Dan. Let's have a drink." Yeah,
I would. Definitely.
You would. But if he was dressed up like he is on stage, do you think if he invited you back to his place,
I'd go.
He may want to have freaky sex with you?
I'd be into it.
Do you think you could, in that instance, judge said book by its cover? Or
I knew what I was getting into, Brad. Yeah. And you're bringing up my sordid past again. I didn't want to talk about this.
Or would you be shocked and surprised and appalled that a man who appears like this and writes music like this and has a persona like this may want to get freaky?
Yeah, not really surprised. But
no.
As a thing, like he's got former partners that have come out and said, like, he's not like that at all in his personal life. It's, there's a stage act going on. And then I saw an interview with his personal assistant from the time. She said one of the girls that's accusing him was he ghosted her because after a couple of dates, he went, "Oh, this is a bit of a weird one." He ghosted her, and then this chick was coming back with, "I'm going to kill myself if you don't go out with me." And then the other ones are pursuing him. They're moving country to be with him. And saying they're getting abused over years. I don't know how much sympathy I have.
We weren't there.
We weren't there. We don't know.
Yeah, we can voice our opinion from the other side of the world, but we weren't there.
Thing is, I don't know if it happened or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but then I don't instantly believe anything either, to be honest.
That's true. Yeah, because there's a lot of money being thrown around, I'm sure.
#believe all rock stars.
#believe everybody or you'll get in trouble.
Yeah. I remember that Evan Rachel Wood. This has gone down the memory hole, but I remember reading articles. She married this other actor. Cops were called to the house because she was beating him up. And you go do a Google search for that now. It's down the memory hole. They've removed that shit.
Oh yeah, it's been
Yeah,
Mandela affected. Mandela,
yeah.
what's it called? Mandela. Yeah, Mandela effect. Anyway, do you remember? Did you ever see Marilyn Manson live?
I certainly did. He came
When?
out. It was a big day out. It was a
Yeah,
New
I was
Zealand
there.
music festival.
We
Came
were there.
out. He
We've
was
been
in
friends for so long.
I'm not in love, but I'm gonna fuck you. Anyway, he came out. He was wearing feathers, red feathers, and a black thingy.
That's
And it
right.
was just
Yeah,
a fun show. Like,
it was.
did
Was
you
there?
remember a bit when he he kept like dropping his mic saying it's broken or something on stage and getting upset. And then he took the
Mm-hmm.
mic. Every time he threw it on the ground, the roadie would come out, pick the mic up, and put it in the stand for him. And like the third or fourth time he did it, Marilyn Manson didn't like the microphone. He picked it up, he rubbed it in his bumhole, and then threw it down the stage. And then the roadie comes out to pick it up and put it into the mic stand, and he sniffs it and goes, and runs off. Like it was all completely rehearsed. But
Uh-huh.
I found it funny.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember that big day out. Did he have the big dildo, or was that Rammstein? I'm pretty sure Manson had like a big white cock.
I can't
And was
remember
like,
one, but I went to the Ramstein show and they had a giant dildo and it blew a load of water all over the keyboard
yeah,
player.
maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
I can't
That's what I'm
remember it with
thinking about.
Manson, but maybe.
Manson, I remember he was all leathered up and stuff. It was a good show. I remember it being very entertaining.
I remember they brought out the big sign with drugs,
The
flashing
drugs,
lights.
yeah, the big flashing light. Yeah. Yeah, that was sweet. So sweet. But that was a good song, man. Don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me. It's just,
Yeah.
it's catchy. It's just a pop song. It's good. Same with the Dope Show. I think those are good tracks.
Yeah, they were. I just think it's glorious entertainment and it's meant to be taken with a grain of salt.
Sure. I mean, it's like Alice Cooper, shock rock,
Yeah.
or whatever you
Well,
want to call it.
People were pretty up in arms about Alice Cooper back in the day, but it's a pretty soft
absolutely.
show compared to other things
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah, for sure. But you got to push the envelope. Somebody's got to do it. Otherwise, we'll become a bunch of fucking snowflakes like we are now. Look what happened.
I was just going to say, the world needs Marilyn Manson more than ever now.
No,
and movies like
Marilyn.
Scary Movie.
We need the next Marilyn. We've had Alice Cooper, and we had Marilyn. We need another. I can shock people out of their I'm offended. Let's do some offending.
I mean, Marilyn's getting cancelled on his free time now.
Yes.
That's the world we live in.
Yeah, that's true.
Back in the day, I remember they released a home video, Marilyn Manson. It's them with a bag of drugs, and then they're like pissing on girls and all this sort of shit. No one gave a crap. Now,
it would have got them more fans. You'd shock people and offend people to get more fans. Now you just spend the whole time apologizing. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was, oh gosh. There was a heavy metal band. One of the guys said gay, and he said it in a way that, this other band is gay. Right. He had to come out and apologize.
Was the other band actually gay?
No, it was he was just saying it's not very good. They're a bit wimpy.
Right. Okay.
He had to apologize. And apparently some other heavy metal guy said a gay slur 10 years ago, and so they cancelled his World of Warcraft character or something.
Look, we all slip up. We all say things. So just move on, like...
I know gay people who say that's some gay shit.
Yeah, it's just a phrase. I mean, if there's no hateful intent, it's just part of,
what
part
about
of the dialect, I suppose.
What's it, that Brass Against girl? A guy consents to coming on stage. He knows she's going to pee on him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He gets on stage, she pees on him, and apparently that's an incident. I was just like,
That was a full, like,
Who
did you see that
cares?
video, man? That was like
I saw
Niagara
it.
Falls all over that dude.
It was a gusher, but
Ooh.
he loved it. What's the problem? It's a rock
Guess he
show.
did, but did he get pink eye? I guess that's,
Well,
that's
he
part of
didn't
the
know at the
conversation.
time.
Like, I haven't seen any interviews with him. I just saw, here's this thing, and everybody went, he loved it. What if he could have almost drowned?
He was jumping up
of
and
the story.
he was jumping up and down in pleasure.
What I saw was him having a seizure.
You know, in a more civilized time, we appreciated that as good entertainment. Now we're just crazy.
Marilyn got his guitarist to blow him or something on stage, didn't he? Am I remembering that correctly? Something
I
like
don't
that,
know.
some filleting.
I don't know what's rumor and what's. There's a lot of things that didn't. He started a rumor that he removed his own ribs so he could blow himself.
He could blow himself. That's right. Yeah.
Apparently, that's not true.
The envy of all men. I think if men could do that, you'd never see them in the street, and women would rule the world. That's how you get what you want, girls. Just remove ribs.
I think if I removed my ribs, if I sacrificed my ribs, I'd want to blow someone more attractive than myself. You know what I mean?
Dick's a dick.
I'd remove my ribs if I could blow Tom Cruise.
Oh, right. Perfect.
Brad Pitt. I'd remove my ribs for him.
Yeah. Any hole's a goal.
Exactly. So blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
so
we're off topic here, as per usual. Yeah, go ahead.
So the big winner, Dope Show, 49 million streams on Spotify.
Yeah, that's on in our house once every couple of weeks. Dope Show. It's just a banger.
Rock is Dead, 32 million. That's the next big one. I Don't Like the Drugs, a measly 18 million. Almost.
Oh, wow.
And then Coma White, 22 million. And then the rest are pretty negligible.
Go.
Great Big White World, almost 10.
Okay, well, to put all that in perspective, right? You say this is his best album.
Yeah.
Then I'm looking on Spotify, and his most popular song, which I called, is The Beautiful People, right? With 229 million. And then it's Sweet Dreams. And then something called The Fight Song. Never heard of it.
Oh, I love The Fight Song.
Yeah, I'll check it out later. And then Tainted Love and This Is the New Shit. Those are his top 5. So nothing off Mechanical Animals is in his top 5.
I think I listen to his other albums. I think they're good, but they do sort of maybe drone on. I think this is the great album. I think it's the critically received album. I kind of agree with that as an album.
I do remember it getting good Rolling Stone reviews. Fuck, do you remember reading that magazine? Anyway.
It's a magazine.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo! Pictures and paper? Never. You had to turn it, not scroll it, folks. Yeah, I remember it getting good reviews at the time. You know, you could have turned the pages instead of scrolling on your phone. Keep up.
Why would you do that?
It's like there's so much weight to turn a page of paper. You could tear it. It's paper cuts. Fucking dangerous living in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Marilyn Manson.
Either. I was kind of losing it, really.
How's the skippability for you here? I reckon you're going to be like a no skips kind of guy.
Loving everything. No skips.
Loving everything.
Every song's a winner. Some better than others, but gosh, still great.
So, typical Brad fashion. I think this is an album you could put on in the background, or what you're mowing the lawns and it's just on, right? You don't need to skip anything because it's all tonally familiar. It's just a good rock album. It's not. I didn't find it offensive. I didn't find anything on there grating. Like, I could listen to the whole thing. But it wasn't full of standout tracks by any means. You know, I think overall, kind of just mediocre rock. And then with some peaks and troughs. Dope Show, Rock is dead. Don't like the drugs. New model number 15. Greatest lyrics of all time. But other than that, kind of unmemorable, you know? It was just Mansoning along. So yeah, I wouldn't skip 4. Or no, I'd come back and just listen to those 4 and then not even bother listening to the rest. But in other times, I'd just put on the album and leave it. Not very clear, but that's what I'm going with.
Well, I think the Spotify world agrees with you, but they do that for every fucking album. 3 songs, that's it. Screw you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm falling down the Spotify rabbit hole.
I
As I get older, I get lazier.
Well, Cat's Meows. How many Cat's Meows out of 10 you going to give this son of a bitch?
How many angrily fingered ex-girlfriends would I give it?
How many sexual abuse lawsuits?
How many sex crimes? Yeah. How many ex-girlfriends in the courtroom suing you? I'd give it. Look, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10, mate. I think that's fairly high for this. That's me. 6.5.
I'm giving it 10 fuck Frankies out of 10.
Whoa, a 10 for 10.
Yeah,
so
loving it.
This is in your top 5 albums of all time.
Oh, I don't know. I've probably got a few albums in.
You went 10 out of 10, so it's got to be there.
It's great. Anyway, I can't find anything wrong with it. It's great. It's a great album. Could I do any better? Probably not.
Wow. Yep. You got us there.
Got to be humble.
Got to be humble. But yeah, if you're a fan of rock and a little bit of anger with your rock and a little bit of theatrics, check out Mechanical Animals.
All right.
I'm gonna fuck you. Just say what better goes along.